cut the crap. Let's get to the show. It's Get Right Fantasy Network. We're back. Sick and tired of this. I'm still mad about my grade I got last week.
You deserve
I don't even
it.
want to talk to you guys.
You earned that grade.
Hit the intro. Hit the intro. Hey, I took my shirt off last week for that. I would welcome you guys. But hey, whatever. We have Frank. We have Anthony. You know the deal. Get Right Fantasy Network. I'm keeping my shirt on. It didn't help me last week. My sleeves are up. Stay tuned, guys. We're going to be covering running backs by committee. There's a lot of questions. A lot of teams are running with that multiple running back strategy. So we want to break that down, help you out, let you know who to draft, who not to draft, that sort of thing. Anthony, thanks for being here.
What's up, everybody? Glad to be here.
Frank, you were a little nicer to me.
I try to be as objective as possible, but yeah, what's up, everybody? Glad to be here.
He gave you the C- for the record.
So as you guys know, me and Frank don't agree on a lot of stuff. One thing we did agree on, my boy Ant came through with the F- draft last week.
Oh, yeah.
I hope you guys got to watch that. Hey, besides that, let's jump into it. So a lot of teams, one of them that stands out to me, feels like they're taking a lot of number 2 running backs and making it a 3 running back committee. Houston.
David Johnson, he played in 12 games, got banged up a little bit. Had 691 yards, nothing crazy. In a PPR league, because he did still get 33 catches, still was scoring about 15 points per game. So, when it comes down to that, it makes him, viable. You could even say low in RB1 at that point, maybe high end RB2. But from what I'm looking at and kind of the way he's heading and trending down, the way this line is, obviously the Deshaun Watson, situation, I pretty much don't want anything to do with this backfield. We saw the decline of Mark Ingram last year as well. From Baltimore, he's there now. So who knows what type of role, he's going to have. The only bright spot that I see in this backfield is potentially Philip Lindsay. If he could keep himself healthy, there's a chance he might actually emerge from this backfield. So, that's kind of how I look at it.
I can see that. Hey, somebody's got to do something is basically what you're saying. That's what I hear. Frank,
Right.
Do you agree?
Yeah, honestly, Philip Lindsay's probably maybe the chance, guy there. David Johnson, you know what you're getting out of that guy. There's not much improvement going on over there. If things change, then we'll see what happens. But I it's a sinking ship.
Yeah, no, definitely a sinking ship. So another team that's kind of stands out to me is Arizona. With the new addition, they just got James Conner, who obviously none of us like, I guess I'm speaking for the world right there. Don't like Steelers. We don't like James Conner. Chase Edmonds, I was going to put him in my sleeper. If we would have recorded a week ago, I was putting Chase Edmonds in my sleeper. Then I found out he has 1 goal line carry, I think, ever within the last couple years. I'm not too comfortable with anybody from there. How about you guys?
Well, I don't think Arizona was too comfortable with him either, which is why they went out and got James Conner in the first place. There was early rumblings that, he's going to be the workhorse. He's primed for a 3-down role. I was even kind of telling everybody early, I was hearing the same thing and thought he might be the guy that was going to, creep forward. Obviously they had to escape the actual NFL draft without getting a running back either. And I thought it might be his backfield to lose, and worth taking a flyer on. But now with James Conner, it just kind of looks like a nice even split. They're about the same, caliber type running back. I think they're going to play the hot hand. So it's going to be hard to guess who's going to get it. I think they'll both be viable, but it's going to be crazy trying to pick and choose which one's going to go off. You're kind of almost hoping for an injury, so one of them's going to be, the 3-down back.
See, I'm thinking it's going to be James Conner. I think he's the one that's going to take over this backfield. And the reason they signed him over there, I do agree they're going to be putting some time and being obviously why we're talking about it, because it's going to be a running back by committee. However, I think that James Conner will probably, out touch, Chase Edmonds and outperform him. And you'll probably be a sleeper because of that. And, nobody likes him and it's not fancy, but he is being drafted really low. And if you get him low, he could turn out to be a starter for you, possibly. So,
Frank, do you want to know why he's getting drafted low? The
Here it comes.
Same reason David Johnson is. He ran as a number one running back last year, 721 yards for the whole season. No competition over there. Benny Snell did take over a few games. I see why the Steelers got rid of him. They should be looking to pick up a running back. Benny Snell is not going to be your number one. It's the same reason David Johnson ran for 691 or whatever it was yards, 6 touchdowns. That's not the stuff that I'm looking for. With the running back,
I also don't think they have good offensive lines to run block and help set that up either.
Yeah, or offense, or defense, or front office,
don't get them
management,
started. Or fans.
Yeah. Hey,
groundskeepers,
or massage
parking
therapists.
attendants.
They're going through it over there in Houston. Hey, same thing with Arizona. So jumping to the next one, we don't talk about this often enough. Running back committee where both the running backs are actually relevant. So we're talking about Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb. Chubb obviously coming off another 1,000-yard season. For me, he's my top 3 off the board. Roughly could be top 5. Is that the same for you guys? And is Kareem Hunt, does he have a job?
Right, yeah, they both do still. I mean, come on. I think that it's going to continue the way it has been. Whoever's not injured at the time will get obviously more of the touches because that was the situation last year. One guy goes down, the other guy benefits, hugely. And they're both viable running backs. I think they both got 1,000 yards or close to, and plenty of touchdowns. So they're both almost the number ones. But because of the running back by committee part, they keeps them at RB2s. But I mean, they're solid RB2s, borderline RB1s. You could definitely get both of them. Either one of them, you'd be fine, I think.
No, don't pair them like that. Chubb is highly superior. Hey, Kareem Hunt. Hey, I want to steal your thunder, Anthony. 841 yards. So I mean, they're not superior. Chubb is by far the number one over there. So let's not throw them in the same statistical category.
Yeah, and I think the best way to, put a stamp on that is, obviously we know Chubb missed those games with the knee, missed, 4 games, but still had 190 attempts. Kareem Hunt played the entire year, all 16 games, including those games where he was the number one workhorse back and only out-touched him by 8 carries.
Tell him, man.
And on top of that, Chubb churned out 1,067 yards on a 5.6 yard average. And we know those long touchdowns he broke at the end of the year, which, kind of really vaults him there. Obviously in a PPR league is just kind of what caps his ceiling because again, he was way out targeted by Hunt, 51-18, and out caught him, 38-16, but still had about half the yards on a fraction, only a third
Are we going to talk about touchdowns?
Of the catches.
I'm waiting.
Yeah. And then I was saving the best for last. My man had double the touchdowns that Kareem Hunt had rushing again in 4 less games with 12 touchdowns. And, so my man, I have him at number 7 overall on my rankings. And I think I have, Hunt down a little more. Yeah, it's just because it's half PPR. I have him at 7.
No, that makes sense. I mean, even in our last draft, he went number 9 overall. So
right,
and that's I believe super flex too. So I mean, makes sense. Another one last year that we kind of all went back and forth with. We didn't know who was going to take the starting job. Marlon, Mack got injured, so the Colts. I mean, is there a clear runner there? It looks like it's James Taylor. He's getting drafted. Even I'm looking at our last draft board right now. He's getting drafted 7th overall. I've seen as high as 5th. Do you guys agree with that? Is there somebody else that we should be looking for there? Nihem, Hines, Marlon, Mack's coming back. I mean, what do you guys think, Frank?
I definitely am. I had him ranked higher because of that. I am buying into the hype. I think he's going to be the man
How
there
high?
next year. The only thing that you're right, Nihem Hines was vulturing him, but he was vulturing him in the receptions, in catching the ball and getting those. And I think that that would also turn to Jonathan Taylor's favor and making him, more of a true number one over there. And, that's why I actually ranked him up higher because of that. And I will draft him higher if I get the opportunity.
What's higher to you? Where do you see him going? First rounder or no? Depending how the cards
late first round, early middle, depending on how the draft's going. Because some of the guys, we know the top 4, and like you're saying, he's gone as high as 5. So he's definitely going to go in the first round. I don't see him falling to the second round.
Yeah, so you have him as your highest sophomore running back, I'm assuming. And obviously it's not possible for you to tell me 2nd pick, 5th pick, because you're gonna do whatever is given to you. But I'm just curious to see that. So you have him as a first rounder. Anthony, do you agree with that?
Yeah, and I think based on what they were trying to do last year, 232 attempts, 1,169 rushing yards as a rookie, on a 5-yard average. I think that's thanks to the line. They do have one of the top lines in the NFL. And it's kind of proven in the carries that Nihem Hines did have as well. He still averaged 4.3 yards, which wasn't too far behind. But the big thing was they trusted him on the goal line. Rang in 11 touchdowns on the year, which is really nice, and very efficient in the passing game. Not necessarily high volume, but 36 out of 39 targets for 300 yards and another touchdown there. Only 1 fumble on the year. I think these are one of these potential workhorse backs that could be coming into their prime. Definitely an RB1 potential workhorse guy there in both standard and PPR.
All right. So I know we wanted to talk about Chicago. Really, I don't think there's much of a debate there. We know who's David Montgomery is going to be running the show. Won last year, and I think we've kind of felt differently the whole year. You guys are big Rojo guys. I'm playoff Lenny. I'm Lombardi Lenny. Tampa Bay. What do you guys think they're going to be doing next year? Obviously, they kept their whole entire offense, which makes it more predictable. Should make it more predictable, but we never know. Who are you guys running with at the helm over there?
Flip a coin.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
It's like it's the new New England backfield over there. Just because we know how Arians is. If Rojo comes in and doesn't hit the hole hard enough or hit the right hole, makes a misread,
you get one play.
You get one chance, man. And it's like he will not give him the backfield. He will not just give him the backfield. Dude took off for like a 70-yard touchdown and then literally didn't even get to play the next series. So
hey,
it's like hard.
He's like,
it's hard, man.
My football. Hey,
right.
Pulling him out of the game.
Exactly. So it's hard to hard to gauge. But you'd have to assume it's going to be Rojo. But again, I think this is one of those running back by committees. I think both guys will be viable in a low RN. I think both guys will be viable in a low end RB2 role. And, they should be able to, produce for you. Again, last year, 10 fantasy points a game for Fournette and, 13 points a game for Rojo. So, they're definitely starters.
All right, so on to the next one. Frank, I'm going to give you this one. There's not much we could beat that horse dead. Oakland had made some big changes, right? Kenyan Drake's not no sucker. And they got Josh Jacobs, who was getting drafted last year in the first round, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Low end first round. So what do you think? Do you think that they're going to kind of have that same kind of effect as the Rojo? Playoff Lenny, what do you think?
Yeah, I do think that it's going to be exactly that. It's just going to be eaten into what Jacobs had. The Thunder's gone basically. now that they brought in Kenyan Drake, it's a running back by committee situation, and you're hoping that you get the right guy. And if anything, it's probably going to be Drake. You know what I mean? Like he's going to be, obviously be the beneficiary of all this. But nobody's winning. You know what I mean? Nobody's winning because it just dropped Jacobs down. You know what I mean? So what do you, it's how much are you going to get out of Drake?
Above
basically.
Jacobs?
Huh?
So in draft, are you taking Drake above Jacobs?
No, because you could probably get Jake for cheap still. People are going to stay away from him because of that.
Trying to see where
I'm not going to reach for him. You know what I mean? Like I definitely, mid-rounder right there because Jacobs will still probably go in the second round.
In the drafts that we did, definitely Josh Jacobs is going before. But I mean, we've seen Kenyan Drake go pretty high too, higher than I would expect him to go. So that just shows you. I mean, this year in fantasy football, we know there's only a few running backs that are carrying the bulk of the load, and that's why we can do a whole entire show just on running backs by committee and who to get, if not both of them. Like Kareem Hunt's gonna go like top 5 rounds probably.
I mean, look at this. We were looking at the stats earlier, right? And we were talking, how many touches they each got. Kenyan Drake last year had 239 attempts at 955 yards and 10 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs had 273 with 1,065 yards and 12 touchdowns. So that's that number is going to go down. And obviously Kenyan Drake had a pretty decent season. So I mean, they almost had identical numbers.
Yeah, I think both of them are injury prone. I think they're going to feed off each other. I think I don't want to say that they're trying to get the Browns backfield, but I feel like it'll be similar for sure.
They need to work on their offensive line. That's all I'm going to say. I'm staying away from this backfield. I don't like running backs behind terrible offensive lines. That's just me.
They cut everybody. Hey, that is no secret.
If your guy's getting hit in the backfield, you can't run for positive yardage. Yeah. So anyway, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. So the next
I hate the Raiders either way, so don't worry about me.
Yeah, well, it just hurts Josh Jacobs. At the end of the day, a true Niner fan. All we really know is it's going to hurt Josh Jacobs, and Kenyan Drake will be RB2.
Okay, so we talked about second-year running backs. Jonathan Taylor leading the pack. Zach Moss was up there last year, and he was somebody that I kept on my roster. I felt like I needed to get rid of. I kept him, and I couldn't pinpoint between him, Devin Singletary, everything they have going on over there. Do you guys think he's relevant this year? Who do you guys think has a starting job or either even worthy of being drafted? In your opinion, things change quickly. Frank, break it down.
Well, it's a buddy miss. I mean, you're looking at Zach Moss, Devin Singletary. Shoot, even Matt Breida got put thrown in the mix over there.
Who?
It's Matt Breida's over there now. I'm looking at the roster right now.
I hate the 49ers, so I remember him just to hate him because he was a 49er. So
even Devontae Freeman, if you want to remember that guy. TJ Yeldon's another guy that's over there. But I'm just saying Zach Moss, Devin Singletary were the main guys last year, and you were basically a toss-up between them. You're right. It was a love-hate relationship with Zach Moss, and I think it's going to continue some of the same.
Do you? Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, these aren't kind of guys that I really want to target. I mean, if anything, you could kind of maybe get Moss because you're going to get some good value out of him, being a late round, getting him, probably in the 10th, 11th round, you can probably get him. In that case, if he's an RB, 4, RB5, I think he's definitely worth, that value. But again, he only averaged 7.8 fantasy points per game last year. That's 7 points. That's, really nothing. That's a 18-yard touchdown. Less than that. That's an 8-yard touchdown in PPR. So, to me,
running backs got to score you 10 or more on average.
Yeah, I can find that off the waiver wire. So to me, he's not somebody I'm like trying to target. If he falls to me, great. Otherwise, I think Buffalo's throwing the ball. That's why, Josh Allen's going number 2 off the board. So,
Bless you, Frank.
Thank you. You did it just in time.
Well done. Well done.
Hey, I do want to say in our draft, I keep looking up because I'm looking at our old draft board. I took him 7th round, 9th pick, Zach Moss.
I mean, that's about what he's worth.
Yeah. I mean, he was my 4th running back off the board, which
Yeah,
I'm
RB4. That's
comfortable
what I
with,
said.
you
Yeah.
know?
I mean,
Hey,
Devin Singletary had 156, 687 yards. Zach Moss,
wow.
112, 481.
It doesn't
So
look
really,
like they're
Devin
going to give
Singletary had more
anybody the
carries, a little
starting
bit more
job.
yardage. Is that going
I
to
just-
continue? It's not wowing numbers. You know what I mean? Neither one of those numbers are like, wow, or I need to go get that guy, or
It's a
he's going to be
Josh
the next
Allen.
guy. You know what I mean?
It's a
So-
Josh
I like
Allen, Stephon
Buffalo.
Diggs show.
I like
Yeah, I like the
Buffalo,
team,
but to
and I think
jump,
that they'll do well. But fantasy wise, and that backfield is not worth it.
got you. Hey, so I like Buffalo, but I want to jump to a team that I don't like.
The Rams.
Hey, don't skip a team. You know where we're going.
Damn it.
So I pride myself until last year. I have never picked up a 49er. I would have got Kittle had I had the chance. I've never picked up a 49er. Last year, there was a couple players. You give me a Devo, you give me a Raheem Mostert. Like, I'm flexing with those guys. Obviously, they weren't flexes last year. Got a little tough. But hey, whatever. So San Francisco would make me look like an amazing running back. It seems like anybody who gets a ball over there, they're paying people. It doesn't matter. Jerick McKinnon's getting the most money. He's not even like top 3
Doesn't
running
even
back
wanna
over
play.
there. It's the stuff that's going on over there is crazy. But can I just ask, Mostert, we remember even coming off injury would break an 80-yarder. Like, how
And then-
high do you guys have Mostert going? Is he your top running back off the board?
He's terrible. I mean, you should just not draft him at all.
Oh, look at that. I'm trying
Just
to
let
think of
his-
the nursery
Let
rhyme,
his
like,
ADP fall.
Yeah.
Who
wants
where
that
he's
guy?
going, where he's going right now to me is fantastic value. Getting him as possibly your RB3 off the board. I think he has RB2 and even low end RB1 value. Creeping in that top 12. I think he can if he can stay healthy. Again, just like Dustin said, he'd break an 80-yard play, come out on the next series, high ankle sprain, out for 6 weeks.
Yes.
Hey, it
80
was just,
yarder, sit for 6 games.
gone. Yeah, 6 games gone. Come
Perfect.
back in, 14 carries for like 100 yards, like 10-yard average. I mean,
You
it's
said
just
this when we talked the other day.
yeah.
They want him so bad to be their starting running back, or they have that much faith in him to where they're giving him the juice every time that he comes in the game. And I was arguing the opposite side. I'm glad I'm not on camera. I would have got proven wrong. I felt
Yeah,
like
I
they
like
were
him,
kind of
man.
tossing it around.
I like him where
Frank-
he's going. I'm not reaching for him, but I like him where he's going now early. But I'm sure his stock will rise as
We'll
we
probably
you guys
talk about him
open
on the
camp.
sleeper app.
You guys mentioned it. I mean, the whole thing is if can he stay healthy, you got a phenomenal running back. However, if he doesn't stay healthy, you got guys like Jeff Wilson Jr. and Jeremy McKinnon that they were falling back on throughout the season over there in San Francisco, and they were always plug and play. It was literally whoever got hurt. I remember you guys went through a stretch where every week a running back got hurt, and every week it was the top waiver wire ad was the San Francisco running back, and he produced for you the very next week. It was like a plug and play, picked up that guy and ran it in. Couldn't agree with more. Jeff Wilson Jr. did have, 7 touchdowns and 600 yards over Raheem Mostert ended at 521 with only 2 touchdowns, though. You know what I mean? Because like we were just talking about, he's out. But I mean, he got 521 yards and I don't know how many about 8 games, let's call it 6 that he actually played.
Yeah, that's
you know
a
what I mean?
1,000-yard rusher you projected
Yeah,
out.
exactly. So that's why you do go for
And
him.
that's
And
3,000
if
this year.
and if not, if like Anthony's saying,
17.
you're getting him as a 3rd rounder, that's huge value. Huge value if you get a
Third
RB1
rounder.
Or 3rd round, like RB3, I think is what he means.
No, I thought you
I
said
like
he was getting drafted in the 3rd round.
hell no.
Drafted as your RB3.
Raheem
It was
Mostert
more
went
like
7-7.
6th, 7th round.
Anthony
Yeah,
picked him 7th round, 7th pick in a 10-man league.
yeah.
There
To
you
me,
go.
that's fantastic.
Even
I
more the
might have
point
even
that if
reached.
you get him
You could
that
even
late,
maybe got him later.
that guy could be a league winner for you.
Absolutely, I agree. All right, let's move on before you guys start saying bad stuff about the Niners.
Okay, so now to,
Let's end on a
so
good
now
note.
to say bad stuff about the Niners, I actually scheduled in this segment 20 minutes. We're just gonna bash the Niners. their last 2 Super Bowl appearances. They turned
All
off the
right,
power.
I'm gonna leave for this.
I'm just kidding. Hey, so even better topic that I'm sure a Niner fan wants to talk about, LA Rams. They did the same thing we're talking about with the Cam Akers and Henderson and Malcolm Brown. Malcolm Brown, I believe, is gone now. But they went with that running back by committee kind of thing. Is this the year that we're going to see Cam Akers emerge? Do you guys think? And then if so, where are you guys putting him? Obviously, we went, let's see, sophomore running backs. Who did we go with? Jonathan Taylor. We haven't talked DeAndre Swift yet. That's who I was going to say. And then kind of get into that Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins, whatever. We won't go there.
Yeah, I kind of have Cam Akers ahead of those 3 guys, actually. To me, he's my top guy, and that's just because of the offense that he's running in. To me,
you have him ahead of them?
Yeah, I have him ahead of Swift. Or I'm sorry, I think I have Taylor ahead. I apologize. But I have Cam right after Taylor. But
as a sophomore running back, you're saying
right, as
like
sophomore
he's the number 2 sophomore running back that Anthony's saying.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well said. Much better than me. So we know he had that little rib injury early when it looked like they were trying to give him the starting job, and then he kind of had to pull back. He kind of hit that rookie wall last year, but he finished the year very strong. It looked like they're kind of handing over the reins, and to me, it looks like he could pick up and kind of become that Todd Gurley 2.0 of 2017, 2018.
I like that.
And to me, if you can just, again, I'm looking for potential when I'm drafting people. And if I can have that potential boom when there's a coaching staff that wants to give the ball to somebody that much and score that many touchdowns, then he has a spot on my team. I don't think Darryl Henderson's going to be a factor really at all, unless he.
I was about to say that because of the fact of the other people involved, and like you mentioned, Malcolm Brown being gone now, Cam Akers has the opportunity to be a true number 1 over there and really show what he can do. Now, can he stay healthy? That's always an issue with some of these guys, but he has the opportunity right now. I still wouldn't draft him that high, you know what I mean? But definitely somebody I would want to get because he's going to be the number 1 guy on the team.
So, as you guys know, we already did our sophomore running back breakdown. That's why we're not talking about people like J.K. Dobbins. We don't feel like he's up a committee. But we're going to keep breaking down. We might do wide receiver by committee, who you should get. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. We're going to come out with a lot more content. We appreciate everybody that's liking, subscribing. For those of you that aren't, okay, I won't say what I wanted to say. Just like and subscribe or don't. Frank, Anthony, thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you guys as always. We appreciate the hard work that you guys put in to get us here. Thank you.